What's going on, everybody? Welcome into an all-new episode of the Pack a Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. We have Justis Mosqueda. It feels like it's been far too long, but we're going to catch up with him in just a moment. Before we get there, shout out to our brand new Pack a Day podcast YouTube members, Dion McCarter, JDR, Joseph McGuire, Brian Hudson, Philosophy Bob, and Timothy McCloskey. Appreciate you guys for signing up. If you haven't checked those out yet, make sure to do so. Brand new video with Aaron Nagler for members today. We've got the members only Q&A every week. Usually we got some Ross Uglum content as well. So lots of stuff to check out. If you are a Pack a Day podcast member, check out those today. Also did have one piece of news and notes from the Packers that I didn't get to discuss with Justis. They did sign Lasita Smith back to their practice squad. He has obviously that interior offensive line experience. Hopefully it doesn't get that deep into things where they start needing Lasita Smith at any point this season, but he does provide them with some depth along the offensive line. Also want to tell you about Alchemy Wealth Management. If you want to start looking ahead to your future, I would highly recommend talking with Ryan Nelson. Awesome to work with. Go to retirewithryan.net. That's retirewithryan.net for a free consultation. As I started to look at doing this full time, one of the things that I had to take a ton of time looking at was retirement, and Ryan made it all incredibly easy. So make sure to work with him when you have the chance. Again, go to retirewithryan.net for that free consultation today. And then, of course, you know all about Luigi's Frozen Pizza. I want to tell you a little bit about their Big Daddy Pizza. This is a pizza that is piled high with toppings on a crunchy, thin crust. You can dive into the double sausage, double mushroom, 31 ounces of two mouth-watering sausage and mushroom variety pizza covered in a 3-cheese blend. If that doesn't sound amazing, I don't know what is. Yes, I do love mushrooms. I know I'm the pickiest eater, but their Big Daddy double mushroom, double sausage is one of my favorites. Go check it out at your local grocer. Go to luigispizza.com or on social media at Luigi's Pizza. Now it is time to get to our conversation with Justis Mosqueda. You're not going to want to miss it. It's coming up right now. We are back with Justis Mosqueda. It feels like it's been far too long, and especially after a loss, I feel like I need to talk to Justis much sooner. It's taken long enough. We get him now. You can find him, of course, on acmepackingcompany.com, on social media at JUMOSQ. Justis, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right relative to things. Had another wedding to go to this weekend. That was fun. The groom is a Oregon State fan. I'm obviously an Oregon fan. We got into the wedding, which so Mexican dude. I'm half Mexican, was raised in the Catholic Church, all that stuff, right? So I go into it with a bunch of friends, their first Catholic church wedding, and I was like, here's the thing, folks. If this is both in Spanish and English, something that I have been exposed to in the past, this could be like 3 hours. We were in and out in an hour and a half. But the reason I tell the story, we go in to the service. It's tied 7-7 in the Civil War. So later on, the groom, it's well over after the game is over and stuff. The groom asked me, and he's like, "How'd the Civil War go?" I was like, "You don't got to worry about it. No." That's not for today. Don't worry that they got, Oregon scored like 37 points in a row or whatever. Yep. As soon as you stopped watching. So, pretty good. I burned my hand. If you guys could see that on the oven, I was making a
Luigi's Pizza?
Contraband pizza. I was making a contraband pizza, and that's why I burned myself. So I've been dealing with that for like 10 days into tealing. Yeah, burned myself like a 3-year-old.
Would not have happened if you were cooking a Luigi's Pizza. I know that much. No. Everything would have went perfectly. So that's on you, my friend. Yep. This is sort of the week. I was telling Justis as he came on here, when Paul Brettel was on, we recorded the first 10 minutes without hitting the record button. Justis today, I forgot to send him the link. Like we're like following in the Packers' footsteps. It's just a lot of mental errors, self-inflicted wounds. So we're going to clean it up. We're going to fix our pad level starting right now, Justis. Let's start with this. You've had days to think about this. What were you thinking in the moment as that game was going on, especially in the catastrophic ending? And B, how have you coped with it throughout the course of the week?
I mean, how else do you cope? I mean, they crapped the bed, man. They crapped the
Yeah.
bed at the end. I can't remember if it was with you or on the radio, but like I laid out the game, right? And I'm like, look, Cleveland's defensive line is better than you think. It's not just Myles Garrett. Like all these guys are getting off the ball. Malik Collins is playing really well. Mason Graham hadn't played as well as he did this past week until this week.
Yep.
So, great timing for him to have a breakout game, right? I think he had like something like a 40% pressure rate or something like that. But, they like to stack the box. It was going to be hard to run against them. I thought the answer was going to be offensively, like you take some shots, you win some, you lose some. That didn't happen. They threw 2 passes over 10 yards. One was the DPI on Rome, I think, down
Yep.
the left sideline, and then the other one was the Matthew Golden one down the right sideline, which potentially he could have scored. I don't know. I don't know if he could have gotten more yards. I know that.
4 steps he had on that play. I went through slow motion and counted that. So from ball contact, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just feels like in 4 steps you got to be able to course correct in some way, shape, or form that doesn't take you beelining out of bounds. I'll just put it at that.
I don't know if he could have scored, but I'm sure he wants that one back.
He did say as much today, I guess, in the locker room of like he wishes he had that differently.
And then I think the end of my analysis was, look, even if things break bad, I don't know how the Cleveland Browns score. It would take like a terrible turnover, I think, for this team to lose this football game. And then lo and behold, we end up, Jordan Love gets, essentially tricked, right? From the man coverage, guy drops off into the second window. Man, the way that play looks too, like they could have just thrown a 9-ball and gone fishing for something, right? Like, DPIs happen, spectacular catches happen. Like, even if he doesn't get a clean break off of the line,
even if an interception happens, you're probably 40 yards down the field, right?
Yeah, interceptions don't really happen on fade balls. Like cornerbacks can't make a contested catch like that and through contact with the receiver and stuff like that. But yeah, they had no help outside. All the help was inside, and it leads to things that could possibly happen like that, where you get these tricky things in those windows. Cleveland coming into this game had number 1 man coverage rate in the NFL. I think we talked about that last week.
Yep.
So it's not surprising that he would have thought when they were presenting huge man coverage, like, hey, we're going to be playing cover 1 in this play. He thought they were in man coverage and was like, okay, we're just going to throw the slant, but didn't end up working. And that one stunk. Plus the blocked field goal of it all, the Andre Schmidt coming into the game with an injury. He had like an MRI on Friday. He had a shaky game in week 2. Very much was, playing for his, like, if he misses that kick, like, I don't know if he's on the team this week. Like, that's kind of how, unsettled the ground that he was standing on was, and then just drills it. Just drills it.
And
I'm like,
jumped off sides anyway. Even if he missed it, it wouldn't have even mattered. So,
yeah, very dumb game. We had the community post up on APC where I was like, is this the biggest collapse since the 2014 NFC Championship game? I think there are some arguments for the 21 playoff game.
Divisional game, for sure. That's a bigger collapse to me. Yeah.
Stakes are obviously different, right? For playoff games and stuff. But yeah, man, that wasn't good. The special teams isn't as bad as you guys think. They're like 22nd DVOA right now. I know
we're not allowed to say anything positive about the special teams after that. It's just, we're not defending anything. I'm just kidding.
I'm not defending anything. They have to get better. I think that this is probably the worst 2-week performance that Bisaccia has had, or Bisaccia's units, I guess, have had since he's come to Green Bay. Last year, I think they were 2nd starting field position and like 5th in opponent starting field position. I think a lot of stuff is just like people not really understanding like what the average special teams unit looks like. But the past 2 weeks, it's been bad. It's not been good.
Yeah, not ideal, certainly. Going back to the Jordan throw for just a moment, well, what would you, because obviously I Delpit made a great play on it. I hate the play call in that situation.
Hmm.
What would you have liked to have seen? Because Jordan's reading man, he gets man, guy falls off man, picks it off. I know you have to have kind of clarity and vision in front of you, obviously, where you're throwing the ball. It's a quick concept, kind of one step out, ripping it right away. How, if you're Jordan, what's the correction on that if he gets something like that in the future?
I mean, if you think it's man, read the men. Like if the guy covering 3 drops off, you should have been able to see that. To me, now with that being said, he was getting sacked
Yeah.
in quick game in this game, which is like not something that, I mean, really in the gun 3-step game, you're cutting off 2 steps off of that, right? So it's really like it's like 1 step and then I'm throwing, right? Um just with the timing and the rhythm and everything when, stuff comes out of the shotgun. He was getting hit on those plays. Like
Yep.
the offensive line, you cannot undersell how poorly they played. And credit to the Browns defensive line and all that stuff. Those guys are good. I think they could have had some better pass rush plans. Honestly, I think they did a pretty good job at throwing bodies at Myles Garrett. Like there's that one play where he's basically getting triple teamed that everyone is kind of like posting around and stuff like that. But I think LaFleur even admitted was like, I think I underrated how good the rest of the guys were, right? Like
Yep.
this was the game that like Chris Brooks barely saw the field. I don't know how many times Chris Brooks like was in to be a blocking back for the entire play and didn't release on a route and stuff like that. I thought they could have done more with the whole chips thing where you walk those guys up and you're an empty, but you basically have
The two
2
wings.
wing tight
Yeah.
ends and you're chipping both defensive ends and stuff like that. Obviously, that stuff doesn't always work, right? Like the Browns did that, and Rashawn Gary got a sack like immediately, right? That was the first play that Micah Parsons played linebacker all year, and the Browns played chips out of it, and guys still get clean because Rashawn Gary's one-on-one spot because he's lined up a 3 technique defensive tackle.
Right.
I thought they could have done more. Thought they should have been more aggressive.
The line should have been more aggressive, or the play calling should have been more aggressive, or
I think the play calling could have been way more aggressive, man. I thought we were seeing shots this game. I thought long A dot, and you live with the consequences. I think the way that they could redo it again, right? I think they're like, we're gonna screen game these guys to death, and then we're gonna take shots. Obviously LaFleur thought the game plan kind of revolved around Myles Garrett, which like not a bad idea, right? Don't hate that. No qualms with that. We heard the production team was like, he kind of has a call sheet where it's they want the Myles Garrett. There's the plays for the Myles Garrett on the field and the plays without Myles Garrett on the field. There were times where they had the simulated what do you call it, substitution
yes,
penalty, or not penalty, but
yes, they held it up. Held it up.
yeah, they had to hold up the snap, and the way it seems is wide receiver left to go to the bench area, came back out when he realized he wasn't getting subbed out, and the Packers were basically trying to trap the Browns in hurry up while Myles Garrett was off of the field, right? Which again, not a bad idea,
Smart.
but like that's potentially one opportunity you could have taken a shot that you didn't get because a guy went onto the bench and didn't realize like, hey man, everyone's got to be on alert when 95 isn't on because we want to take as many snaps as possible, right? We're
Sure.
not subbing until there's an incompletion. So
How much did because I know you said you want them to be a little bit more aggressive, but when even some of the short passing game is annihilated by pass rush, how much to you would that have affected the ability to take shots since or like we saw, obviously Golden had a shot down the field and it's still, it doesn't take a massive amount of time for, you to give a one-on-one to Golden or Dobbs or whoever it might be on the outside.
Yes, but again, I don't think we maximized this personnel.
Sure.
Second half of the game, first of all, John Fitzpatrick is out snapping Luke Musgrave now, right? And I don't want to get too deep into the special team stuff because I know people be and moan about that. But like we've replaced Luke Musgrave completely on like kick return, for example. Like Luke Van Ness got a holding penalty. Luke Van Ness isn't usually on the kick return team. We have like 6 defensive linemen on the kick return team right now. And that's the staff being like, I don't know. We probably have a better shot blocking with one of these guys than Luke Musgrave at this point, which is pretty damning on what they think of Luke Musgrave as a blocker. Second
Right.
half of the game, they really start playing John Fitzpatrick a whole lot more than Luke Musgrave. Could you have done that all game? Maybe. Could you have used Chris Brooks more as a pass blocker? Maybe. Like, I don't understand why this was the game that they were like, yes,
It's the
Emmanuel
wrong game.
Wilson, it's time to
Yeah.
turn up the dial. Like, we weren't running the ball very well. And it seemed like we were less committed to running the ball in this one than in the previous two. And they were fine with just, throwing Josh Jacobs into the Wolves right in the first 2 weeks. So I understand. But like the Browns defensive line is good. Their pass defense is not good. Their pass defense is like league average.
Right.
So, you're going to face some pretty good defensive lines. If you have Super Bowl expectations and all that stuff, like figure it out.
Well,
So
that kind of brings me to my next question is obviously Dallas does not have one of those Super Bowl caliber defensive lines.
sure doesn't.
No, they do not. But just kind of moving forward, let's say Zach Tom, we know he's going to be out this week now, but let's say he's out for a little bit. So Aaron Banks is out for a little bit. I don't even screw it, even if they're in there, like what is the next step for this offensive line so that type of debacle does not happen again?
Man, just having a good plan on who backups are at certain positions and kind of sticking to that. I know I talked to the guys at like Next Gen and PFF and stuff like that because obviously they're prepping, the Sunday Night Football broadcast crew and things like that. I have buddies who work in all of those fields, and they're astonished. Like they're like, the Packers have played 9 offensive line lineups. It's week 3.
Week 3.
Yeah. So like, I think we're doing way too much, especially when there's young. I mean, to my knowledge, Andy Morgan didn't take a snap at right tackle in camp.
I don't remember one. I certainly don't remember one. And I'm almost positive it didn't happen because they seemed really focused on getting Anthony Belton those second team right tackle reps. I don't recall seeing one at all. And as you know, like I'm pretty in tune with like who's out there in different groups. I don't remember. I'm like, as Paul Brettel said the other day, even the stuff that we see at camp is just a fraction of like all their practice time and like things like that overall. But I certainly don't recall seeing it.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I think I'm not saying this about you, but I do think some people have like a misconstrued idea of what in-season practices are like. You only get to wear full pads in one practice,
correct,
a week, and that's only for like the first 6 weeks of the season. It's every other week after that. Like
you don't always use them either.
Yeah, that's the thing that. Like the players don't get big wins money wise in terms of like the split of the pie and stuff like that in the CBAs. The way that they've kind of worked it out is like we don't have any contact in practice during the season. 2-a-days are done in the summer, and we get to smoke weed. Like those are the real wins that the Players Association have kind of won since 2011, right? So like. to the special teams thing, like full speed, good on good, field goal protection. I don't know how many times they've done that.
Yeah,
Like
probably
sincere,
not a
like
lot. Yeah.
I don't know if they have done that, right? Like that's
Not in camp.
so
I
if they
don't know.
didn't do it in camp, they're not doing it
I
during the
shouldn't say that
regular season.
100% for certain. I'm going to be totally honest. When we get to the field goal kicking portion, I'm usually not super in tune, and I'm kind of going through my notes and doing some other stuff. You might disown me for that, but that is the one where I like actually take a half breather during that point in time and put the Twitter fingers away for a few minutes.
Well, hey, Matt spilled the beans this week when he was like, "Yeah, we kind of just like focus on punt team. Like that's what
But
I
he
like."
said the NFL just
Yeah,
focuses
no,
on
I mean
punting.
he's not wrong, especially with I would say before this year, before the kickoff rule changes and stuff like that, where people are just still booting it through the back of the end zone. Um, Definitely, because
Yeah.
if you're doing the tiers, right, it's punt team and punt return, whatever. How we're gonna couple
Yep.
those kickoff return, and then the last one is field goal block. Like no one's making a team because of field goal block. That's
Right.
not what's happening. Um, Elton Jenkins, by the way, even with that banged up offensive line, Elton Jenkins isn't out there on field goal team when you're in a gotta have it situation. I don't know. He
The
probably
way
could
that
have.
the way that Elton Jenkins played in this game, I'm not sure that I feel
Yeah.
any better about him out there, to be totally honest.
But they threw Tucker Kraft out there, and I don't think he's been out there on field goal unit the entire season before then. So, they kind of ramped down and were like, "This is a gotta have it situation. Let's throw our best guys out there." And Elton Jenkins still wasn't out there, even though guys were banged up. To the offensive line thing, I want to just finish my thought on that. Like you were talking about, what do they need to do? I mean, focus for these guys. Like we talked about the Morgan situation. Don't think that he's played a right tackle. Um, I really do think. I think Morgan's a left tackle only.
I kind of think so too.
Yeah, but they're not going to bench Rasheed. Like if they try to bench Rasheed, like Rasheed probably demands a trade, which more than his right when he's probably going to be a $20 million player or whatever
I kind of
next
wonder
year.
if Sheed should have been the right tackle and put Morgan at left tackle. Do you move Sheed to right tackle in this game? I kind of think I would maybe. Well, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do because then Belton's not. I don't know.
I don't
It's a
know,
mess no matter what.
but
But
they're playing Belton, rookie coming off of the bench at two different tackle spots in this game. Only 4 reps at left tackle because of the
to be
Rasheed
fair, that was
Walker helmet.
the helmet issue. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then Kennard has been here for 20 days or something like that. Like he hasn't been here for long, and they're having to use all these guys. So I don't know, pump the damn brakes and get some continuity on this offensive line. Also, Jenkins is playing really poorly, and then,
Really poorly.
I've seen some things where people were like, maybe you shouldn't have moved him to center and stuff like that. Like he was an all pro at guard. Why'd you move him to center? Elton wasn't that good last year. Let's be clear. Like Elton kind of was rocky last season too. I don't know, man. It's just chaos on the offensive line right now, and you just gotta, however you can do it, build some continuity. I think it made sense that they brought a guy like Brant Banks up. Don't know if they needed to use that roster spot, but I don't think it's a bad idea to have an extra offensive lineman with the way the math works, right? You bring Brant up, you sign Lacita Smith to the practice squad. There's way worse ways you could have used that roster spot. I will say an interesting part of this, Brant Banks, do you know what school he went to?
Cooper was Minnesota. Northern Illinois was Lippy. Where the hell was it? It wasn't Colorado, was it?
No. So
No.
he went to Rice.
Okay.
Rice's head coach is Mike Bloomgren, who is now the Browns offensive line coach. The Browns lost Dawan Jones due to an injury. He just got put on IR. They ended up actually today, this morning, poached a player off of another team's practice squad.
Patriots practice squad.
Yes.
An offensive tackle.
So I do kind of wonder if the Packers just kind of got either wind or you know, uh what do you call it? Oh, this is a bad word to miss on.
Just like, yeah, like,
Intuition. Yeah,
oh, okay.
just like, an inkling that like, hey, they need a tackle. We have that guy's college tackle. Maybe he's gonna get poached. If we want to keep him, maybe we got to bring him to the 53. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the situation.
I've heard stories of NFL general managers calling the player and the agent at like 3 a.m. and saying, we want to sign you to our active roster for poaching from another practice squad. We want to sign you to an active roster, but we need your answer right now, so that like they cannot go back to the other team and say,
Yeah.
like, I want to talk to my team first to see if they're willing to sign me back to their active roster. Of like, no, like we need your answer right now. Are you going to sign with us or not? And so like you do get into these like really interesting dynamics and moments, but it's possible too that Cleveland said, we want to sign you to the active roster. They go back to Green Bay and say, hey, we know you got 2 spots. We'd prefer to stay here. Will you sign us? And Green Bay said yes, but who knows?
That stuff happens on draft day too, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, mostly on day 3, but you hold guys on the phone for a couple picks, right? Like if we're 3 picks down the line, right? And we know we want to grab you, I'm calling you. And if you drop off of this line, I got to go trade up. I got to go trade up right now, right?
Yeah.
Gamesmanship, all that stuff. I mean, that stuff happens.
Very much so. Yeah, I'm interested to see just what they go out with. I'm assuming that this is assuming Banks can't go. I'm assuming this is pretty simple with Walker, Morgan, Jenkins, Ryan, and Belton this week. But I don't know. We'll see if they change.
But they've had 3 different plans, 3 different weeks at right tackle for who comes
true.
in after Tom. So I'm not making any predictions on who the heck is going to be out there, right? Like week 1, it was Kennard. Week 2, Belton got the start. Week 3, it was Morgan until Banks dropped out, and then it was Belton until Walker dropped out, and then it was Kennard, right? So your guess is as good as mine, buddy.
I just want to go back. I'll talk about this in my grades episode coming up on Thursday as well. But I can't stress how disappointing Elton Jenkins has been so far. Just looks disinterested at times, to be completely honest. Of just like knows where to be, but the effort involved in it is just completely off. And I don't know if he's checked out because he wants that contract extension, or just realizes he's going to be gone next year. I don't know what the hell it is, but that is not the, and I know I'm with you. And I've kind of been on the train forever of like, the idea of Elton Jenkins is a lot better than, like, he's been a solid player. He's never to me been like a all pro or even like Pro Bowl really caliber player. But this to me is a total different level of it. And it just doesn't seem like he has it right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in the Jenkins camp, and he's frustrated about money and stuff, I mean, someone's got to get clear to him, like, hey,
the best way to make your
worry,
money.
Yeah, this is not the way that you're going to make money next year, right?
Well, the crazy thing too is like, to a real extent, I know Jenkins isn't in a contract year. He's basically in a contract year, and Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker are in contract years. You would think you'd be kind of getting, and I think Ryan's mostly been fine, but you would think you'd be getting like the very best version of those 3 players, because they do have a crap ton to play for right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You know what broke me? The mic'd up Myles Garrett.
Jordan, run. That's like a Chicago Bears thing to happen. Like, it should be like Caleb run. It shouldn't be Jordan run. Yeah. I'm not used to it.
I'm not used to it either. So
I'm not used to a Packers offensive line that just looks completely like that awful. Like, they're even like, usually they get to like 5 random guys out there, and it's like, oh yeah, they put it together somehow. Like, this is just what they do. And it's just not been the case so far this year at all.
I don't like it.
I'm mad at myself, Justice, because I went back and I looked at my grades through the first 2 games, and I did not have good grades on the offensive line in the first 2 games, especially the Washington game. The Detroit one was mostly fine, but like I didn't have great grades on the offensive line, and I probably should have like just noted it more, or at least been a little bit more cognizant of it, aware of it.
I think how much of it was pass pro, I guess, is my question, because they did a pretty good job.
It was mostly run blocking. You're right. Yeah. It was mostly run blocking. That was great. You're 1,000,000% right. But still just didn't like the way it felt in totality, and then it just got annihilated last week. I'm hoping this is just a wake up call that they needed, and it'll be a little bit more cohesive this week. And as I get Zach Tom and Aaron Banks back and can actually play together a little bit more, that this will be just a blip in the radar. But man, it is not ideal right now.
No, it is not. I'm looking through my game day tweets just to see if there's any information that I've just blacked out of my mind since since this happened. I will say I forgot about the Zane Anderson stuff. Great special teams performance for Zane Anderson. So he made tackle on the opening kickoff. They have him playing punt gunner now, which
I saw that.
They've been trying to figure out that. I think they kind of are settled in a little bit now with Bill Melton and him. Zane usually plays the punt protector, which is a super premier role on the team. But they're keeping Evan Williams there, who took over Zane Anderson's role when he was banged up and stuff. And they're just like, look, we're just gonna play Zane and Bo as punt gunners because we've had this weird rotation. Like Kamal Hadden ends up being a healthy scratch. They tried it with Savion Williams, didn't really work. They opened up the season with Javon Bullard out there. Bullard, on one of the snaps, couldn't get 5 yards downfield because he just can't break a vice. So I do think that there's a little bit room for optimism on the special teams front. They're getting Sorrell a lot more reps, which is something that we've been talking about since the summer. They try to feed him a bunch in the preseason, but obviously he's kind of been on a pitch count because, rookie plus knee injury, right? All that stuff. It's going to be better. As far as the field goal block protection, lock in. I don't know what else to tell you. You're not going to get a ton of reps at that in any level of the sport. And all these count. I don't understand why these guys were taking wrong steps and not really doing their job in a gotta have it situation when guys like Tucker Kraft are coming off the bench just to come into the game because the team lost their best personnel. I mean, that decides a win probably there.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And hopefully lessons learned. Just going, not that we need to spend much more time on the offensive line here, but I know that you noted that they're obviously not doing Josh Jacobs any favors so far. I know you kind of wrote about that a little bit. So the run blocking, obviously just as, if not worse, and it's not helping Josh Jacobs in any regard.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 0.0 yards before contact, right? So he's getting hit at the line the entire time. I think it's something he has 180 yards rushing and 172 of them have come out after contact. That's not good. That's not good. So we're kind of in the same spot that we were kind of last season where, people were comparing the Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs numbers, but then the nerds were like, well, EPA is actually bad. And then it's well, yeah, because the offensive line can't get any push. I mean, I think that's one of the more disappointing things too, right? About this team is we've done a fundamental shift on the type of offensive lineman that we go after, right? It's no longer just college tackles who have really good feet and are going to be good pass protectors. We've shifted away from that. I think the only guy you would even consider a little bit undersized on the offensive line at this point is probably Zach Tom, right? Yep. Everyone else is 330. The whole point of that is, hey, we're going to have to pay for it, but we're going to get guys who are bigger bodies because we want to be able to kind of set the tone in the run game. And that just hasn't happened at all. Now, I know Banks hasn't finished the game. Tom hasn't finished the game. Jenkins is looking shaky, right? But not what you thought it was. Not what you thought it was.
No, certainly not. And extremely disappointing. As we kind of go to the other side, from a Packers defensive standpoint, their defensive front, I know you also noted getting a ton of double teams, specifically the defensive ends. What have you noticed there so far? Hey friends, it's time to start getting our sleeper picks in for week 4. Vikings, Steelers, our first international game of the year. I think this one's going to be a defensive struggle, so I'm going to be going fewer on a lot of these categories, including Aaron Rodgers, fewer than 202.5 passing yards. I think this Vikings defense is going to be all over Aaron Rodgers, and I think passing the football is going to be extremely difficult in this game. Meanwhile, Jordan Mason, less than 79.5 rushing yards. To me, this Steelers defense is going to make Carson Wentz beat them and make sure that Jordan Mason is not getting the requisite yardage to need to get a win internationally. So I'm going Jordan Mason, fewer than 79.5 rushing yards. And last but not least, Justin Jefferson, more than 5.5 receptions. This is the one that I'm making an exception on for what I believe is going to be a defensive struggle. I think Minnesota is going to feed Justin Jefferson, get him involved early and often, and make him the star of that Sunday morning international game. Just to recap, Aaron Rodgers, fewer than 202.5 passing yards, Jordan Mason, fewer than 79.5 rushing yards, and Justin Jefferson, more than 5.5 receptions. Make sure to get your picks in over on Sleeper. You can get a 100% match up to $100 by using code PACKEDA. Again, a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKEDA. Make sure to use that code. Check it out over on Sleeper. And make sure that you understand that terms and conditions can apply. So check out those terms and conditions over on Sleeper. It is available in over 25 states. So what are you waiting for? Get after it right now.
Yeah, I think some of those numbers too are teams are not or like the stats statisticians are not accounting for where their alignment is. So I think a lot of those double team rates are coming in the cheetah packages and stuff like that, where DNs are getting inside. Okay, let's double that guy, right? We'll take the one-on-one situation on the interior with the actual defensive tackle, who is usually like Carl Brooks or something like that. Packers played a bunch of different alignments. They basically doubled the amount of packages that they had going from week 2 to week 3. We'd basically seen 3 real packages through the first 2 weeks, right? It was their base 4-3, their nickel, and then the cheetah stuff, which they only played out of nickel. Now they're getting into the penny look, right? Which is you get a single off-ball linebacker, and there's basically a 4-3 front on the line of scrimmage. Now the personnel is super weird because you get a nose tackle. They got like Rashawn Gary and Barron Sorrell at like 3 techniques, defensive tackle. So you're getting one-on-ones with them. Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper on the edge, and then Micah Parsons is the lone inside linebacker off the ball. Again, Gary got the sack on the first play that they showed that. They're starting to play a little bit of base now, where Lucas Van Ness kicks into 3 technique. That's kind of interesting. They hadn't really done that in the past. We'll see how much they get into that. Obviously the 3-man defensive tackle rotation is still like a pressure point on this roster. Cleveland wasn't. I mean, maybe you could make the case that second and last drive where they were actually drive the ball down the field, it impacted a little bit. But I think the 2 big runs that they gave up, the first one was really because Javon Bullard had a poor tackle attempt, and then the second one, honest to God, Kobe Wooden was right there and he got held. That play probably should have come back. So I don't think that's, the Browns wore down the Green Bay Packers on the defensive tackle front, and they finally were able to expose them. I don't think that it's happened yet.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
And then the other set was the goal line stuff, which really helped them out. I mean, I know people were like, it's something like the Browns scored twice in like basically like a minute or something like that. People are like, the defense collapsed. No, the defense had 2 bad plays, and then they got spotted the ball on the 5-yard line. Like, that's not what happened in this game.
Yep.
But when they were able to force that field goal, they played like 1 billion red zone goal line snaps because like injuries continue to like pile up and stuff like that. And they were able to kind of survive because they played this goal line front where the only defensive back on the field was Xavier McKinney. They hadn't done that all year. That was the first time they played with fewer than 4 defensive backs on the field. And they were just like, yeah, Browns goal line. Like, they do like the 2 fullback stuff a lot where, they had the like freak athlete, like 9.9 RAS defensive tackle coming into the game, declaring as eligible and playing fullback. So I don't think that was a bad plan. Like, I'm still pretty impressed by Hadley's defense outside of, basically the two back-to-back runs where Bullard's got a bad run, a bad tackle attempt, and then Kobe Wooden was held. Like,
Yeah, the
just
only other
kind of
one
is
was
what it is.
the Fannin play where he broke like
Yeah.
3 tackles to get, but yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no super concerns there. No, I thought the defense was phenomenal. Would like to see them start stacking a few more turnovers. Really, the only turnover was like a fake turnover in this one for McKinney, which basically just acted as a punt or whatever. But yeah, I would like to see that a little bit more, but you can't complain anything that the defense is doing at all right now. And certainly not in this game. I know you always track, you mentioned the John Fitzpatrick stuff already. Any other interesting notes from like the snap counts that you kind of kept an eye on?
They changed what they did in
Bo
the
Melton
slot.
playing 3 wide receiver snaps.
What was that?
Other than Bo Melton playing 3 wide receiver snaps, he's now 3 on offense, none on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bo's getting looks at wide receiver. We talked about running back. Emmanuel Wilson doubled up Chris Brooks' snaps this week. That hadn't really happened at all in the past. Again, do you want that back? I think LaFleur probably would want that back if he got to call that again. Last week when Jaden Reed went down, right? Golden and Wicks kind of both split at outside receiver and slot receiver in a similar rate. This week, Wicks got twice as many snaps as Golden in the slot, and Golden got nearly 3 times as many snaps as Wicks as an outside receiver.
Interesting.
So I think that just might be what we see moving forward, where it's Dobbs and Golden are probably your primary outside receivers, and then Wicks is your primary slot. You sprinkle in some Heath at outside receiver, and in those looks, Golden kicks into the slot. Like, that's kind of how this thing is working out right now. Savion Williams is still like gadget player. I think he's run 3 real routes in 3 weeks. 2 of them were runoffs. So he's run a dig. That's
got to start
that's where
somewhere.
we're at. Yeah, that's where we're at in terms of him not running in a straight line downfield or just being handed the ball. He's run a dig, 1 dig. The Fitzpatrick stuff, talked about that already. I really do think like Luke Musgrave, like tight end 3 is a real thing that is probably going to happen. Going to put him on shaky ground going into next year because I don't know if you can justify a tight end 3 being a pass catcher that you don't throw passes to, and he can't really block and he can't really play special teams. They played a lot more 4-3 on defense. I think that was expected. Browns play a whole lot more 2 tight end sets and stuff like that. Not a surprise. Parsons outsnapped Gary again. I don't know why we're still asking questions about a snap restriction in the press conference. It hasn't existed for 2 weeks. This is where we're at right now. Defensive tackle, still a 3-man rotation. Lucas Van Ness got 9 snaps at defensive tackle this past week. Nasir Stackhouse got 10 for perspective, right? So, Lucas Van Ness is damn near as close to defensive tackle 4 as Stackhouse is at this point. Nothing too crazy at linebacker other than the McKinney play where he played linebacker on the goal line. The Micah Parsons package stuff, the penny stuff that we talked about. Nate Hobbs took over at cornerback for the most part. They're still doing the trading drives type of thing with him and Carrington Valentine. Week 2, 42 snaps for Valentine. Week 3, 21. Week 2, 27 snaps for Hobbs. Week 3, 41. So it's inverted, right? I still think they want to keep Valentine involved in the lineup and stuff like that. Hobbs has played 11 snaps over the last 2 games in the slot. Obviously, if Javon Bullard doesn't go, he's probably going to be the team starting slot in this game. For the most part, it's been like long down and distance. So same thing that we talked about last week where it's, hey, in obvious passing downs, they'd rather have Hobbs in the slot than Bullard. But on a down-to-down basis, it seems like Bullard is the guy for them. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. Javon Bullard has not taken a single snap at safety over the last 2 weeks. That's Evan Williams' job now. So that's where we're at personnel wise, unless you want to talk about the dreaded special teams. So
The one that I was, I don't know, maybe disappointed is too strong of a word. And I have to go back and look at it because I might have this wrong. I haven't watched it on tape yet. But in the moment, the play where Bullard got called for kind of the ticky-tacky pass interference or legal contact or
was
holding
that
or
the one
whatever it was.
their feet got caught up?
It was on the sideline. I think it was a third down situation. I think it was a third down along the sideline. And then like that was the one to me of like, because I think Hobbs was out there, but I don't think Valentine was out there. And I think that to me, it was like, why is Bullard in and Valentine not in that specific situation? And like a third down, obvious passing down. And again, I haven't gone back and watched it for sure. Maybe they were playing, but yeah, if Bullard was out there, I can't imagine that either like Valentine or Hobbs wasn't. And I think it was Hobbs that was in and Valentine wasn't. And that's just the situation where I'm like, that's exactly where I want Hobbs or Valentine to be one-on-one in that situation, not Javon Bullard in coverage.
Yeah, for sure.
But
no, I get it. Obviously, like this week is a weird week to kind of have those qualms, right? Because of the Bullard concussion and
for sure,
who knows if he's going to be available and stuff like that. I'm just assuming against the Cowboys, CV is going to be playing outside corner and Hobbs is going to be playing slot. Maybe Hobbs plays outside on base downs and stuff like that. But
I would think so too.
That's kind of what I think. We are also in like uncharted territory though. Like if Hobbs goes down, buddy, I don't know who's playing in the slot.
Bo Melton time?
Is he playing in the slot? He played outside corner like exclusively in the summer, but so did CV and Keyshawn.
If that's Haddon on the outside and then Nixon goes to the inside, that's one possibility too. Because I mean, obviously Keyshawn is very well versed. Yeah, I don't know who else. I can't imagine it's going to be like Oladapo or Zane Anderson. Do you do Evan Williams, put Oladapo, Zane Anderson on the outside and have Evan Williams play the Javon Bullard role?
Honestly, maybe. Because I probably feel better about our
Williams
depth at safety. Well, no, like just the guy off of the bench, right? Then
the corner.
Yeah, then
it wouldn't stun me if they went in that direction. If Williams was in the slot and then either Oladapo or Zane was at safety next to McKinney, they could definitely try something like that. But I don't know. That'd be interesting. I would personally probably go with, I don't know. My initial gut says Nixon in the slot and Haddon on the outside. And then I just don't. I remember that I really don't like Nixon in the slot. He's so much better on the outside. So I don't know what I feel like.
He also hasn't like practiced there in like 2 years from what we've been able to see.
Yeah,
and like. For all like the special teams issues and stuff like this, like the one thing I haven't seen anyone bring up is like, hey, how about we get Keyshawn out there as a returner?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. You know what would help a whole lot? Like if kickoff teams just kick through the back of the end zone and we just started at the 30 and didn't have to worry about our return team. Like that's kind of the world the Packers have been living in and been happy to live in since the Keyshawn breakout. So
at least Savion had one nice return at the end there that helped a little bit. But yeah, maybe we see a little bit more of that moving forward. Speaking of injuries, Dallas, Tyler Booker, Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb did not practice. We know CeeDee Lamb and Booker are both going to be out for this one. Chikwueze Bridges was limited, as well as Deron Bland. So their corners definitely a little bit banged up as of right now. As far as the Packers go, Aaron Banks did not practice. Anthony Belton, Carl Brooks were limited. Javon Bullard did not practice. Fitzpatrick limited. Nate Hobbs was full. Josh Jacobs and Tucker Kraft both limited. Jordan Love, Bo Melton both full. Micah limited. Rashid limited. Devontae limited, which was good news that he was out there practicing. And then, of course, we know Zach Tom's not going to play this week with the oblique injury. So that's your injury report. Any big takeaways from other than like we know Kenny Clark was not on it for Dallas, so he's going to be good to go for them. But anything else kind of a key takeaway for you there?
Not really. I mean, a lot of that stuff was assumed, right? I will say, like, I don't know if you want to go into the Dallas stuff now.
Yep, I was just, we can go. That's the perfect transition.
Cool. So here are some Dallas Cowboys pass defense stats.
Let's do it.
Dallas's opponents are averaging 30.7 points per game.
Love it.
That is more than double the Green Bay Packers' 14.7. Pro Football Focus had 2025 second-round pick Donovan Ezraku, 2024 second-round pick Marshawn Nealand. Those guys were both brought in to Green Bay. Oh, no. Nealand was brought in as a visitor. People wanted Ezraku is how that worked out. And James Houston. So all three of them, right? Three guys who were kind of tasked with helping replace Micah Parsons. They combined for 0 pressures against the Chicago Bears in week 3. Next gen stats. 3 of the Cowboys defensive backs are in the top 5 players in the league in terms of expected points allowed while in coverage. That's bad. You don't want that to happen. Those guys are Kaiir Elam, who's obviously he replaced Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, who's banged up, and then safety Malik Hooker. Together, those guys have allowed 25 completions on 31 targets. That's an 81% completion percentage for 537 yards. That is 17 yards per target for 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. The Elam passer rating allowed is 136.3. Hooker and Diggs have posted a perfect 158.3. Not where you want to go. This is from Bill Barnwell. Cowboys have allowed a QBR of 79.4 to their opponents. When their opponents aren't playing the Cowboys, they've averaged a 40.8. They've allowed 9.8 yards per attempt through 3 games. When those guys have faced not the Dallas Cowboys, it's 5.8. Russell Wilson threw 450 yards, 11 yards a pass, 73% completion percentage. Was horrible against the Washington Commanders, completed less than 50%, had less than 5 yards per pass. His passer rating dropped from 123 in week 2 to 59.3 in week 3. He has since been benched, right? So He played poor enough that a 450-yard performance was wiped away within 7 days. The Cowboys do not play any man coverage. Going into week 3, they were at 0% for the year. They are now all the way up to 3%. So for perspective, Lions, Commanders, Cleveland Browns were at 39%, 35%, 42%. So we're talking about at least 1/10 of the man coverage rate that we're used to seeing through the first 3 weeks of the season. So they're going to play in zone. And they don't play it very well right now under Eberflus. LaFleur's Packers against Eberflus's defenses, they've completed 69% of their passes, 8.4 yards per pass, 11 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. The 5 times that LaFleur's Packers have played Eberflus's defenses, those quarterbacks have combined for a 116.1 passer rating. That would be equal to the 9th highest single season passer rating in NFL history and higher than 2 of Aaron Rodgers' MVP seasons. So, yeah, it's not good, dude. It's bad. It's bad on the line of scrimmage. It's bad in the coverage end. It's not like they're even being aggressive. They're playing soft zone defense. LaFleur knows how to beat this kind of defense. I'm a lot more optimistic about the passing game working out in this one than against the Cleveland Browns, mostly because they don't got their defensive line, which is pretty easy analysis that you didn't need stats for.
You're not afraid of Jadeveon Clowney's first game in Dallas, potentially, likely?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, he might get arrested for trespassing again, right? Who knows? There's a couple days till Sunday night, so we'll see.
Yeah, this is one where Green Bay's offense has got to have a get-right game, have a major bounce back, and just go completely nuclear and take out some frustrations from week 3 early and often and just let their defense take over from there. I like Green Bay big in this one, if I'm being honest. I'm nervous and sick to my stomach because of what happened last week over it, but this just feels like a very big get-right game before the week 5 bye, and then you get Cincinnati without Burrow the week after that and go on from there.
Yeah, and that Browns offense is like horrible right now. I know a lot of people did like weird wish
Bengals or
casting.
Browns?
Bengals.
Okay, yeah.
People did like weird wish casting for like the Browning stuff. And I'm like, we talk about the same Jake Browning? Like, I don't know why we're doing the like Joe Burrow will be back for the Super Bowl. Like, what are we talking about? They're gonna be out of playoff contention completely by the time that comes around. It's literally Jake Browning. I know that
Yeah.
they're like 2-1 or whatever right now, but that's not a good football team, and they can't run the ball worth the damn, and their defense isn't that good. So yeah, I'm hoping it's just like I don't even care how much they win by. Like, I don't need a statement win, anything like that. Like, get the win, get healthy, get into the bye, steamroll the Bengals, and then the season starts back up again. As far as I'm concerned, the next 3 weeks should be just super sim. Keep guys healthy, keep them upright.
If Green Bay loses this game and goes to 2-2, the Pack a Day podcast may be taking a 2-week hiatus because I don't know that I want to deal with the entire situation. So
before a bye week, you better win this game.
yes, 2 weeks of
you better win this game.
Chaos if it doesn't go that way. So I don't know that I have the stomach for it right now. I am going to Vegas next week, so I might just stay there an extra week. I might just take and just be like, you know what, we're going to rejoin our regularly scheduled program after they beat the Bengals in week 6. After that, if that's end up being the case,
breaking the consecutive day streak. Yeah.
That would be the one thing that might break it. If just like we're rebooting, we're resetting. Everyone's taking a 2-week hiatus from the Green Bay Packers. We're all just going to cleanse. We're going to take a 2-week cleanse if it happens. It's not going to happen, but if it happens, everyone's taking a 2-week cleanse.
Another thing I want to point about the Cowboys, because we were talking about banged up guys on the defensive side and stuff like that. Losing CeeDee Lamb, huge. The fact that they're out Booker. And they've already been out BB, who's their starting center. Huge. Like, we'll see what the Cowboys are able to do. Because right now, I mean, so far this year, they've kind of just been a glass cannon, right? It's like they want to get into shootouts because that's really the only way that they can win these games. I don't know if they can really even be competitive in shootouts right now if they're down 2 offensive linemen and CeeDee Lamb. Like, their one win this year was not in regulation. It was a shootout against the New York Giants, where again they allowed a now benched Russell Wilson to throw for 450 yards. So, I don't know how that game plan works against the Packers when their defense has been as good as advertised. Still number 1 defense in the NFL, even though they had one bad drive against the Browns.
The Packers offensive line just needs to be competent. They don't need to be great in this one. They just it can't be an unmitigated disaster like it was last week. I mean, if you have an unmitigated disaster on the offensive line, it's just tough to put up points when you're not run blocking, you're not pass protecting. We saw it last week. I know Dallas doesn't have the defensive front that Cleveland does, so I'm far less worried about it. But I'm glad they don't have Micah Parsons coming off of that week against Myles Garrett. That would have been a huge pain in the butt. I'll say that much.
Yeah, for sure. One of the funny things that could happen in this game is just Kenny Clark kicking Elton Jenkins' ass. So we'll see what happens there. Elton, dog, I need you to get better.
Yeah, buddy.
I need you to get better. Yeah. Lock in. I need you to get so much better than you've been to start the season.
Yeah, I'm not a huge person of like putting players on like complete blasts or whatever. It's really been sucky from Jenkins so far.
Bad, dude. It's been bad. It has not been good.
Like, it's one thing for Jordan Morgan, I think, had the worst game of anyone on the offensive line this week. I don't think I'm breaking it.
He played 3 different spots. Yeah,
and he's in year 2. He's a rookie, like basically a rookie for lack of a better, because he barely played last year. And he's bouncing right tackle, left guard, like he's all over the place. And Jenkins is in one spot. It's the plot. Like, I get he's in sort of a quote unquote. He played it in college. He played it even last year a couple times. Like, it's got to be way better from him. It has to be way, way better.
I'm with you.
I do not, just for the record, I do not think this has anything to do. And I think you mentioned it earlier too, but I don't think it has anything to do with guard or center. This is just, to me, effort, fundamentals, all of that stuff. I don't see it right there for Elton right now.
Yeah. And center should be an easier position. I mean, you're working more double teams, you're less on an
If anything.
island. Not even double, like combination blocks is really how like double teams work in the NFL, where you starts out off as a double team and then you work your way off of that. Should be a lot easier for him.
The
And he's
the most
bad.
the most low-hanging fruit of improvement for this team this year was going from Josh Myers to Elton Jenkins. That should have been the most easy, like, oh my God, like just a immediate big upgrade going from Josh Myers to Elton Jenkins. And right now, it does not feel that way. It's certainly not an upgrade. I mean, I don't know. It's not been good. So hopefully it can improve this week against the very motivated Kenny Clark, at least. That's not great, but it's certainly a lesser Dallas defensive line. Any other thoughts? Packers, Cowboys before we get out of here.
I think for now that's kind of it.
Can't let Dak get hot. Can't let your offensive line be abysmal. Can't let Turpin get big kick returns. And because I mean, the other thing, Nagler brought this up today when we were talking. They have a field goal kicker who's good from like 68. So like, if
Aubrey's nuts, dude.
So like, if you're struggling to put up points and like even the defense is like holding them to get to just like midfield, that still might be 3 points every single freaking time. So that would be the other thing. So yeah, you just got to be careful of their field goal kicking and be cognizant of it. Don't let Turpin get big returns and don't let your offensive line be abysmal. Don't let Dak get hot.
Yeah, I do wonder when they're going to start going into these like knuckleball kicks on the kickoff a little bit more. I don't know if you guys have watched.
Yep.
The bigger game is probably Rams Eagles, where the Rams just got a ton of those knuckle kicks off. Like the teams that are doing that consistently, the Rams and Panthers, are basically getting like an extra 10 yards on every drive. Like teams are starting at like the 20-yard line. And then everyone else, it's like basically at the 30, right? So when I talk to special teams people, not this past off season, but 2 off seasons ago when they announced this change, it seemed like everyone knew that like the knuckleball stuff was going to be the meta. I don't know why the league hasn't gone full force into it yet. I don't know if they're not confident in their kickers. I don't know if they're just waiting around to see what other teams do before they do it. Like, you know, there is risk aversion in the NFL, but it's so obvious that this was the way that this play was going to go, right? Like, and the new hang time is going to be. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it goes to the 40 if they hit it before the zone, right? If you knuckle it and it doesn't land in the landing zone, it goes to the 40. Is that correct?
I think it is. Yeah, I think so, because I think it's the same as going out of bounds.
I think so too. So like even if you math this thing out, right? If like the average starting field position is like the 30 or what, I don't know what it is, but it's 33, whatever. But if you're getting, like you're saying, if you're getting an average of 10 extra yards per every knuckle kick, like you only need like 4 out of 5 of them at worst to like land in the landing zone to still have like a net positive on your return game. Even if one lands in the non-landing zone and you give them it at the 40, you're still better off in the long term mathematically, even if that happens. So yeah, it seems like a very obvious thing to do at this point.
Yeah. I just don't know how many teams think that they have the kickers who can do it, which is going to be an interesting thing. Obviously, kicker is becoming a lot more of a premium position between if a kicker can earn you 10 extra yards on kickoff, and if he can kick from the 68 instead of the 40-yard line, right? Or from 40 yards out. Like you're playing a lot different football if you have a guy who can do those things.
What's the highest draft pick you would trade for Brandon Aubrey?
Oh, I don't we're not going to do it. But if I was a team that needed one, you got to pay him, which is fine. They don't get paid that much. Dude, honestly, I'd give up like a third probably.
I would think if
I were a team that like really needed one, like if I were a team that really needed one and I didn't have an answer, like if you're who's been shaky? Niners,
big time.
If you're the Niners, you're just like, dude, yeah, I don't want to have to like. Didn't they spend a third on Moody and he didn't even work out? Like, yeah, give me the third. I'll pay the kicker. He basically doesn't cost any money anyway. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Dallas says no, but yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
Dallas should say no. Like
Yes,
he's special.
totally agreed. Justice, I cannot thank you enough. We will be talking next week about a Packers victory. I'm speaking it into existence. It'll be a whole heck of a lot more fun. If not, you're getting the week off because we're cleansing. Where can we find all of your incredible work?
AcmePackingCompany.com. We got so much stuff out today. I think you guys are probably hearing this on Thursday, but like I think we had like 12 posts up on Wednesday. I try to get my detailed snap count stuff up as soon as I can. I think it's probably going to be on like Tuesdays, pretty early on Tuesdays. That's how long it takes to digest the film, especially, after a Sunday night game. I'm not expecting that I'm going to be able to get that up on a Monday. So
takes me till Thursday to get the grades. I know exactly what you're going through, my friends.
I'm just doing personnel. Like that's all. Like I'm obviously seeing the game because I'm watching the film, but like that's just for personnel basically.
Yeah.
So.
Takes it's a labor of love. I'll just put it that way. Follow him at acmepackingcompany.com, at JUMOSQ on social media. You can find me at Andy Herman NFL, and of course on the Pack a Day podcast, 365 days a year. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back next week again talking about that Packers win. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.